So how do you ask for the right thing in an RFP? The paradigm shift is that, yeah, there are certain reports that you get from your current system that are required by a certain agency that funds you, is an oversight committee, what have you. You need those. But on a day-to-day basis, when it comes to reporting, what that really means is access to data, meaningful data, without having to go dig for it. So modern dashboards, natural language processing, um, being able to talk to your data and have dashboards that are meaningful to you as a user. So if I, as AV, log in, I'm the public works director, the things that are important to me today and for this week should be visible right away. If I want to dig into it further, I should be able to click around in that pie chart or a line graph and see what that means. So I think business intelligence, dashboarding are things that have been around for a long, long time, but they also needed their own implementations, and sometimes they were overlooked, right, in favor of the main ERP implementation. But with modern tools and modern products, and all of these major ERP systems have these products built in, we need to be cognizant of what we're asking for, that we're not just asking for old school crystal reports or SQL, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you need that for the technical folks, but for the majority of your user base, it needs to be intuitive, it needs to be in front of you, and it needs to be with AI, conversational, so that you can get the data that you need. As you're sitting in a council meeting, as a city manager, as a finance director, you should be able to talk to the data and have confidence that the answers you're getting are actually accurate. So that's the other paradigm shift. So thinking about thinking about reporting and what that means in 2025 and will mean beyond here is really important. The next thing is training. Traditionally, implementations, a huge part of implementation is obviously educating your user base on what the new product looks like, how it feels, how it works, what the clicks are. And it was done in classroom. You would have, depending on the size of the implementation, you would have a month or two of training where you had waves of people coming into a war room, training on the product, pre-implementation. It could be rolled into user acceptance testing, but that's just one aspect of training, right? When you do an RFP and you ask the vendor that you insist on a 6-month training process in classroom with every user being trained, keep in mind they can do it. They'd be happy to do it. It's just going to escalate your cost. The downside of that is people forget. I forget things a lot when I'm trained on a new thing. I need to go back and learn it again. But you're not going to set up classes every time someone forgets something. And then you have complaints about how you didn't train them, how you didn't give them manuals. All of that is normal and natural because it's people going through change. So, what's the modern way of training? Yeah, you need some classroom training. Pre implementation, maybe you need some power user training. You need overviews of the product. But the smart move here is, in addition to that, leaning on self-learning tools. Uh, all of these modern ERP products have self-learning tools. They have videos that are contextual to the window you're on. They have AI-based training. They have chatbots that can help you navigate the interface, or tell you where to go get certain piece of information or data or report. All of that's available within the platform itself. And it can be as robust as walking you through every click or giving you the concepts of it. All of that is ongoing training. And it's also important because most SaaS products release new versions and new capabilities, new functions every 6 months, if not every year. And so how do you keep up with training? So you can't be stuck on, we're going to do classroom only training, and if we don't do classroom only training, that we have failed this implementation. That is not true anymore. People like learning on their own, especially the newer generation, the new workforce. They don't want to be in classrooms. They can learn anything they want with the device in their pocket through GPT or whichever other AI product that you're using. So changing the mindset on what you're asking for and how you want to train your audience, your users is critically important, because I think that is what the users also expect. And if you don't ask for these things in your RFP, then you're giving an option for people to say you didn't train us. So again, this becomes very critical as you start the implementation process to socialize this aspect of it, that training, yeah, we'll have some classroom training, but most of the training will have to be self-managed, self-paced, and you'll have to take it upon yourself to learn the new system, which again, you look at any modern ERP solution, any modern software platform, they're very intuitive. If you can use an iPhone, you should be able to use a modern ERP product. There's a question coming in from Manish. Traditionally, requirements gathering. I'm going to have to read this elsewhere. This is a long question, Manish. Traditionally, requirements gathering begins with users expressing what they want, followed by mapping those needs to the capabilities of an ERP system. But what if we flip the process? Instead of starting from user requests, we could present the feature sets of top 10 ERP platforms and have users select the functions that align with their operations. Is this emerging as the modern way forward? What benefits does this bring? Is it emerging as the modern way forward? I'm not sure, but it is an option. So when we help our clients pick a new product, there'll be a phase in their pre-RFP where we will bring in one or two um, providers, software providers, to show clients what a modern system can do. Because a lot of times, you go into an agency and they're on COBOL, they're on green screens, and that's what they've done for the last 20, 30 years. And so asking these users what they would like to see in a new product, um, sometimes the dots don't connect because they haven't seen anything else. They've done this job really well with this product, and to them it works. So the script does not need to be flipped completely. I think there's value in showing what modern ERP systems can do today to the user community. But I don't think we completely flip it because there's still value in doing some visioning, helping them understand that it's not all about the product. And again, most products do the same thing today. It's about what outcomes you want, how you want your agency to function in the future, and then which product's going to fit your needs best. And in the government sector also, you have to be procurement savvy and make sure that you're not violating any of these statutes that say you cannot give anyone any undue advantage, right? So it has to be a mix of approaches, uh, but you're right, it doesn't always have to be from scratch, from ground up, like we used to do in the past. uh, but let me throw another idea or thought I just had is, with AI and how quickly you can now iterate products and create products, I think there's value in actually sitting down with the user and having a meaningful mapping session. Like, how does this process work? What do you want to do in the future? And if none of these major providers can do what they're asking for in their main product, and they don't want to customize, there's an opportunity here for micro SaaS, which is not a new concept. But again, the speed at which you can iterate and build product today can be actually plug and play if it works well. It's in theory. So back to training, traditional methods still work. They still need to be involved. But there's several examples of um, counties and cities doing it in a smarter way, where you're doing, King County supposedly had reduced training from 6 weeks to 3 days using AI assistance. Sure, I don't have full context. That's a large county, but it's promising, right? You can do it without having your users sit through classrooms. Because again, I'm not a good classroom learner, and I'll forget and I won't pay attention. So you need to give your users other avenues to learn the product. And the new buying process. So here's another thought, or paradigm shift I think is bound to happen. Um, a lot of times when we see RFPs that we haven't worked on, or RFPs for our services, they come from somewhere else. Like the client that the organization that released this RFP has picked up the scope from some other neighboring city or county and slapped their logo on it. Uh, and it happens, right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to be really careful about what that means. If this applies one to one to your organization, and that's where customizations of these scopes come in the way. Um, but the traditional process, the 18-month long RFP process, 500-page requirements, have led to failure rates because you're not asking for relevant things today. You're not asking for things that are important and being offered by the clients, by the vendors today. If you're looking at an RFP that was released by a neighboring city 10 years ago, it's too old. Those requirements do not fit anymore. You have to be outcomes focused. You have to bring in modern things like reporting and AI, what that means for your organization. And what we're seeing is pilot first approach. Again, best of breed, easier to do if you have a smaller function, a smaller product. A lot of clients are doing pilots. They'll reach out to vendors and say, I want to use your product in a contained fashion to see what it does for us, and then we'll go from there. Um, a lot of, I mean, almost all of major ERP providers have cooperative contracts, right? So that's another way to go, but it still doesn't negate the fact that you have to do the requirements definitions and think about your processes before you buy something. You have to be dead sure that this is the right product for you. And like I said, it's never 100%, but a product that gets you almost there is good enough. So what does all that mean? Why am I talking about this today? It's really important. We at Avero are transforming the way we do RFPs. We just released one, by the way, for the Port of Portland, Oregon. Great organization, and they have a massive ERP modernization project that's underway. The RFP is on the street. If you're watching and you're interested in responding to it, please go check it out on their website. Um, but a case in point is that we released that RFP in 9 months, not 18 months. Again, which seems like a long time, but think about it. We spent a lot of time working on their processes, requirements, future state, and really nailing down what they want to do and how they want to do it in what order. Um, so timelines are getting strong because savvy consultants are using AI, clients are AI first, and they're leaning into it from that standpoint. But again, it changed how quickly we could do the deliverable, but it did not negate the fact that we still had to spend man hours working with the client, understanding their operations, understanding their needs, and therefore using all of that data to release an RFP.